be kind to yourself and go easy on yourself, because you're going to hear rough things from everyone else, but you need to be kind to yourself first. And you definitely cannot put your self-worth in the hands of other people, just in general, especially if you're a young girl picking up a guitar. You have to have thick skin, and if you put the work in, practicing and writing and growing and enjoying that process instead of seeing it as I need to cross a finish line of like being good enough, then you're going to be happy. Learning to enjoy the process and enjoy learning and getting better and better.
How does it feel getting that feedback from like big stars?
Just absolutely mind-blowing. I feel like on the inside, it feels like, like inner child, like kind of freaking a bit. I've definitely been in that boat before too. Like you hear something you don't want to hear. And it happens, it's inevitable. But the first thing is thinking, is this feedback that's actually helpful because someone is wanting to help me? Or is this just someone being negative trolling on the internet? Because if it's trolling, just put that right out the door. Like that should not even last in your mind, and just try to even forget that you read it. I think the song's about really getting back to like just the joy I always felt playing as a kid, and really like that rush you get learning, one of your favorite songs. I wanted to put something together that's very positive and very kind of that reminder of like, even though day to day, like working as a musician can be stressful, like we do it because it's fun.
Welcome to the Apex Lifestyles Podcast. I'm your host, Bob GDMD, and I'm here as always with my co-host,
Dennis V. How are you, Bob?
I'm doing good. We got the Patriots are on a win streak. I called it at the beginning of season 2. I told you in the preseason, Super Bowl.
Well, they went from stellar last year, 4 wins. They've already matched that through 6 games. Now all of a sudden, many of the experts are picking that they could be battling for the AFC title. So,
well, we're number 1 in the AFC right now, AFC East.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, it's been a long time. It's been since 2019.
Hey, still goes through the Mahomes. No matter how they're playing, AFC goes through Mahomes.
No kidding, but it's good to be a Patriots fan right now.
Absolutely.
And we have a fellow New Englander in the studio today.
Maine is in the house.
But she's a friend of the podcast.
Yes.
She's been on before in season 1, early on in the season 1. Guitar virtuoso, has been on tour with Disturbed, with Hailstorm, Effervescence, done every kind of summer festival there is. We have the guitar virtuoso in the house today, Bella Perron. How are you today?
Doing great. Thanks so much for having me. I'm stoked to be back.
So cool. And Dennis, remember when we had Bella on at first, right?
Yes, we do. Bella, amazing first time. We are so excited to have you back today. And there's a lot going on with you. We're really excited to talk about a lot of new things happening for you.
Thanks so much. I had an absolute blast last time, and I'm stoked to be back and talk about all the exciting things going on. I'm super busy and having a lot of fun.
Yeah, no kidding. I've been watching vicariously. As you know, I'm a guitar player, and we had the opportunity to catch back up at a show, an extreme show, the other day up at Hampton Beach. That was really cool to see you and say hi. You met my daughter, Renee, which was great. She thought that was the coolest thing ever, so that was cool.
It was so great meeting her. It was so awesome, too, running into you guys. It's crazy. I love going to shows when I'm home because it's like venues like Hampton Beach, like the bottom here. You're going to like run into like every...
people
Yeah.
So
like extreme. It's like every kind of rock from home. It's awesome.
Right. And, Sully...
I heard, but I think like Gary mentioned it during the show. I didn't see him, but how cool.
Yeah, he was there really, really quickly. So that was pretty cool. So we had Godsmack was in the house too, right? And I got to tell you, we're gonna back up a little bit, but you just released a single that's killing it.
Thank you.
And I haven't been excited about a guitar song since Nuno put out the Rise solo.
Thank you so much. That really means the world. And figure, speaking of extreme, Nuno is definitely like one of my top influences.
Yeah.
I'm just absolutely blown away by the response the song has gotten. Anytime you put a song out, it's like kind of that panic moment of like, are people going to like this? And then as like my first, like instrumental, that's like a solo instrumental I've put out since I was in high school. It's like kind of, I've in the back of my mind, I'm like, it's a 3.5 minute song of just guitar. Like, is anyone going to like it?
But it's really good. It's really, really good. We were talking before, It really has a Satriani kind of feel to it to me.
Thank you so much. That really means the world. Like Surfing with the Alien was the first instrumental record that
Yeah.
just did it for me as a kid. And so definitely like is like my hero for phrasing and tone and like just how he writes and like composes his songs and especially arranges it as an instrumental artist is something I've looked up to literally since I was like 10 or 12 and definitely really diving into instrumentals. That's kind of like the one of even like writing with Scott, you know, like we were talking before, like Scott's really like kind of that moment of like I think even talking about the turnaround in the rhythm section, he was like add like a Satch Boogie thing in there, and I'm like, all right.
Yeah. That's that's at like 210 in the song, right?
Yeah.
And it's got this like funky groove to it. It's so cool, and then it goes into some ripping, guitar solo work. It was really cool.
Thank you so much.
I'm really impressed by it. And what's even more impressive is seeing the response that you've had on social from it.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I was absolutely blown away by just the amount of views and streams and people going out of their way to share it and comment. It seriously means the world. And like putting it out on like a Friday too, just like the whole weekend, my phone was blowing up in the best way. And I'm just so grateful for everyone really taking the time to check out like a new instrumental song. It seriously means the world.
Bella, can you share a story or concept that drove the creation of this piece?
Yeah, it's funny. So I first started writing instrumentals when I was like 15 or so. And this one I wrote, I think when I was like maybe not like 20, I think, 2021. And it was about kind of just, you don't want to spread yourself too thin of like people pleasing with like friends and family. When I'm home for a limited amount of time, I'm like, what do I do to kind of get back to like what makes me happy? Because I was kind of reaching this burnout point. And the song kind of came from that idea where it actually popped up very organically where I realized, I haven't played guitar with like the idea of just noodling around for fun literally in like months. It's always been learning this for a set or learning this for a session, and which I'm beyond thankful for, just within a quick time of all of a sudden the guitar becoming my career. But I think the song's about really getting back to like just the joy I always felt playing as a kid and really like that rush you get learning, one of your favorite songs. So the riff and like the melodies in it are very like inspired by all of like my favorite guitar players. And that's like the whole idea behind the song. I wanted to put something together that's very positive and very kind of that reminder of like, even though day to day, like working as a musician can be stressful, like we do it because it's fun,
Obviously the joy, you can feel the joy and enthusiasm in the song, which was very important. But were there any other emotions or messages that you hope listeners would take away from the song?
I think the biggest thing is like just at the end of the day, doing what makes you happy, even if it doesn't make sense to other people, or it maybe may seem like, why would you put all of like, or so much of your energy into this one thing? And it's like, if it fills your cup, then you're doing the right thing.
Backing up a second and ready the song, I often wonder, so, I mean, Bob and I, we struggle with spreading ourselves too thin as well sometimes. How do you balance that in a short window of, say, going home for a week and you have everybody that wants to catch up and go here and there and then family and then you're still trying to balance your professional life? How challenging is that, and what do you do to kind of navigate that road?
It's tough, and it's something I'm definitely still trying to get a handle on. I'll have times where I'm home for a week and I feel bad. I'm like, oh, I didn't tell anyone I was home because I was like, I have so much work I need to do, but it's all fun work, So I'm trying to like get better at like, I'm always like, oh gosh, every day I have my to-do list of like, what are the things I really need to do today? And then what are the other things if I have the time, like making plans or doing whatnot, but always trying to prioritize things like health and fitness every day, and like self-care, just because I feel like as soon as I put that on the back burner because I'm focusing too much on like work or plans or whatnot is when all of a sudden I start kind of approaching burnout.
Yeah, that's easy to do, right? Dennis and I have both struggled with that.
Yeah.
Although you're doing a 75 hard right now.
Iffy and I, we just hit day 16 and, she looked at me and she said, do you want to do 75 hard? I'm like, oh. And then, after, because it's the 4:30, wake up in the morning, doing the walk, we go for the walk and it's, you know what, it brings structure back to our lives that sometimes. And the thing I like is it gives us opportunity to just sit there and chat every morning and before the day starts. So it's really, really cool. One other follow-up question, and I know you mentioned this last time we spoke, those guitars that you think of when you're writing the song, who are those inspirations for you?
Gosh, Joe Satriani, like number one, your Nuno Bettencourt, Steve Vai, Jeff Beck, and then a lot of the classic rock guys too, like, especially Ace Frehley, Jimmy Page, Joe Perry, I mean, Eddie Van Halen, Slash. Those are kind of like my, Randy Rhoads too, the more I think about it. It's like this long list of heroes, but it's actually like a Nuno Bettencourt interview I heard where it's the kind of comparing like your influences to like a soup or a stew or something of like, there's all these different components of, other people's playing or phrasing you pick up on. So those are definitely like all of my heroes, but I've definitely been having a lot of fun. I mean, over the past few years, diving into a lot of different styles and really pushing like the envelope on like learning new things. So I keep kind of learning and growing and getting better at the instrument too.
Yeah. You know what? That's a really great segue to my next, topic. You took a little bit of a turn not too long ago and you joined the Midnight Cowgirls.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me about that. Let's talk about that. I've been following you all along the whole time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm so excited about it. It's a new band, and it's just been like such a fun dynamic, and really pushing me out of my comfort zone, learning a lot of new material. And then we're kind of working on the first record. We're in the process of writing and recording now. So I'm now kind of writing in a different style, or it's still like that classic rock with like a little bit of like all these different influences in there too. But just like the opportunity to really branch out has been a blast. And I feel like when you kind of throw yourself in the deep end of like, I don't know if I can pull this off, is when you really start growing. So
yeah, that's when you learn, right?
Exactly. The bassist, Jenny B, she's just an incredible artist in every way. And she had reached out to me asking, if I'd be interested in like sitting in for a couple gigs. And I was like, yeah, and it was so fun. That is, but when it popped up to tour with them this summer, they'd asked last minute and I was like, let's do this. And from there, I joined at the end of the tour. And it has just been such a great time. It's just a lot of fun. And I think it comes through in the shows too.
Yeah. Any plans to come up to the Northeast with these guys?
Yeah, so actually we just did our first East Coast tour, or my first East Coast tour with them in August, and it started in New York City, and then we actually worked our way up to Toronto, but we're planning next year to be touring for a lot of the year, so...
Oh, that'll be fun.
I'm like rooting for some New England shows.
Yeah, and you did, it looked like from following you on all the social platforms, you were doing a Crazy Train rendition in there too, right?
Yes. So the really fun thing with that band is it's like kind of described as like country rock. I see it as like a Zeppelin, Jack White with like a little bit of like kind of feminine country in there. But everyone comes from that rock and metal background. So we were out in LA when unfortunately we got the news that Ozzy had passed, and it was a hard day for all of us. I remember meeting up with friends and we're all just driving around like listening to Blizzard of Oz and just, bummed about it. And we were all rehearsing. We had a Cowgirls rehearsal later that day. Actually, I think it was Jenny's idea. Or Blaze is asking if we could should add in an Ozzy like tribute in doing the Crazy Train solo. And I was, one of the first Randy Rhoads solos I learned. So I was honored to get to do that. And we ended up doing that every night for both the West Coast and the East Coast tour. So
very cool.
Yeah, it was.
I'm sure you got a lot of love for that.
Yeah, definitely. It was fun, kind of adding in like a lot of the stuff kind of walks that line of like classic rock meets like kind of alternative with country. So like kind of diving into more of the hard rock every night was a lot of fun too.
I'm sure. How did the audience receive that?
They received it great. It was really funny. Like one of my favorite moments of that tour was we were playing in Nashville at like a Honky Tonk Tuesday show at this really cool venue in East Nashville. And usually people go there for like line dancing, and people start like line dancing to Crazy Train. Or no, it wasn't line dancing. They're like, everyone like had a partner and was dancing. I'm like,
that's funny.
This thing I've seen like while I'm mid tapping. I'm like, this is awesome.
That's so cool.
Super
That's so
cool.
cool.
But yeah, just seeing the interaction of everyone having so much fun at a show and like then doing something like that where people wouldn't really expect to see, you know, a band like even just by the name alone called Midnight Cowgirls throwing in a cover like that. It was a lot of fun to add. And yeah, I think it went over really well every night. It was, yeah, good
Oh,
time.
that's fun. That's really fun.
How do your band members inspire or challenge you as an artist?
In a lot of ways, working with them where everyone has very different influences, like coming from like that rock alternative scene, but it ranges from like me being in like the classic rock and instrumentals to others being into like industrial or like goth or like pop punk, like all over the scene. So when we're writing, a lot of the guitar parts I'm improvising in the studio. So when they're kind of referencing like, hey, what if you try playing something like George Harrison here? And like, I'm like, yeah, I'm thinking on my toes a lot. So playing in like, especially with the sets are a lot of like open-ended improvising. It's a lot of thinking fast, which I really love.
That's cool. It makes you a better player, right? Because you have to be able to pull out of that toolbox and grab some stuff. There's another segue. I remember maybe a year ago, you and another friend of mine, Diego, got together, Diego Vargas, and you got together and did Phantom of the Opera. Can you talk about that a little bit? That was a really cool rendition of that song there.
Thank you so much. And it was such a great time putting it together. Like another situation of just, and like the metal and shred kind of aspect of things really feeling pushed as a player to like, I think for like every fast lick in that song, it was a lot of time spent with the metronome.
Yeah.
He had reached out to me and we've been friends for a while and he had this idea of doing it as a duet. And I was like, yeah, I am totally down for this. So we did all like the tracking remotely. And then I had like a free weekend where I flew down to Nashville and we met up with Dustin Luttrell from Crimson Key Media and we shot the video. It was a lot of fun. And especially playing with a player like Diego, who's just absolutely insane. If you have not checked out stuff, it's my gosh, like just shred legend. So doing like all like the crazy harmonizing stuff with him too is a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's very cool. And that's how you met Dustin, and he just filmed Enlighten's the video for Enlighten, right?
Yeah, he did. It was a really fun shoot too. I'm just blown away by like all of the video shoots with him are so quick and so fast paced because it's like, oh cool, we got the shot already. Let's go on to the next scene and all these things.
That's cool. It's very cool. Where was the location for that?
It was in Nashville. I had kind of mentioned the idea of like, you know, I want to do like a really fun, high energy, like performance based video, but it's still kind of like raw. Like I'm outside ideally, and it's like a cool setting without having to worry too much about like, you know, like stage design or all this. And so he had suggested doing it on like a rooftop of a parking garage where you can see like, I think it's called like the Batman building, like the AT&T building that has like the two like
cool.
towers on the top. Yeah, it looked really cool. Like once we got there and he had like all these like the light bars to like add like the red lighting and it was really fun. It was fun. I had like a busy day with the Cowgirls that day and then I went back to like the Airbnb we were staying at and like got ready super fast and went right to the shoot. It was a really fun day.
Well, it came out great, and we'll put in the show notes at the bottom links to that video, and you know, and we'll give props to Dustin and to Scott and all that, and make sure everybody's got credits and things in there. So that'll be good. So Dennis, you had a question. I thought I saw your face.
Yeah. What's it like being in Mecca?
It's so inspiring just being down there and just driving down the street and you're seeing all of these legendary studios and offices that it's definitely humbling to think of like, well, I'm here now like to work and create music. This is really cool. It's something I don't take lightly and every time I'm there, it's just such an honor and a privilege to be a part of making music there. I feel like every time too, I come out of it learning even more about the whole writing and recording process. And that definitely kind of sticks with you on your journey of, you know, developing your musicianship.
You know, there's so much history there, recording history, but when you look at the talent around you, all the time of people really fighting to get into the industry. It's very impressive.
Oh my gosh, insanely impressive. I try every time I'm in Nashville to catch as many live shows as I can because whether it's, like going to shows that are tours rolling through. I love even going to Broadway and checking out all of the like live bands, because the talent you will find on any stage on any given night in that town is just absolutely unreal.
Well, Dennis, you have a story about being in Nashville. You ended up in a music video.
Yes,
right?
Really?
Happenstance, right?
Right place, right time. There was in front of Kid Rock's establishment. Their 18-wheeler starts coming down the road. They pull off the back of it, and I stood right next to the Post Malone and Luke Combs video.
No way.
So if you still shot, you'll see me 5 times. You just can't blink. It's very impressive to see how a video really comes together, but to see 2 guys that are blowing up in the industry like that, I mean, for Post Malone to jump over genres and almost take over country, it's very impressive.
Extremely. And how cool too, just stumbling across it and having to be in the right place at the right time.
Right place, right time. And it's funny because that week they were just going in and out of bars out there performing unannounced. And so you just never know what you're going to see in Nashville.
Oh my gosh. And it's such an exciting thing anytime you're in Nashville. Like, you never know like who you might come across playing, or like what pop-up show might be going on. It's always a fun time.
Have you found inspiration there yet? Is there something that's inspired you there?
Definitely, for sure. Between like just going to different shows and seeing feel like so many, like a variety of different artists, sometimes even on the same night, and like how people work a crowd, or like with everything from like the technique and the playing to the stage presence to musicianship and all that. It's definitely very inspiring. And then working with different producers and writers down there and seeing everyone having a different creative flow, it's definitely very, very inspiring to be a part of, and to get to go down and check it all out.
How do you evaluate, you mentioned stage presence, how do you evaluate your own stage presence and make changes, or talk about that a little bit?
It's funny, I try to not think about it too much, because anytime I think about it is when I start getting awkward.
Yeah. We can relate to that too, watching our videos afterwards,
Exactly. It's like looking back, it's like I can tell I started paying attention to what I'm doing, because then I'm like, I don't know, moving much more calculated or something. Yeah. So it's like there's certain moves I'll do that you like I know kind of like are my go-tos, but I try to keep it more of just expressing whatever energy I'm feeling. And especially, like the recent shows with the Cowgirls or any show I do, I try to play every show like it's the biggest show ever.
That's cool.
And just trying to spread that high energy and positivity,
Yeah, that's great.
Bella, I'm a very big sports fan, and I think for the 4th time I'm watching The Last Dance with Michael Jordan. And it was really interesting. They said there was a preseason game, and they asked him to sit out. And he said, you know what? He said, I don't sit out because somebody's coming to see me maybe for the first time, and they deserve to see my best every night. And when you think about it like that, you're performing, there's really no day off.
Yeah, that's an apex principle right there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Exactly, because it's like, especially like in the touring circuit, and especially like working as a full-time musician, like not every gig's going to be an arena. And that's the fun part, that you get to experience so many different types of venues and so many crowds. And if you have that consistent energy and performance for every show, and that like the same mindset, I think it just makes your perspective on performing even better, and it makes you an even more solid performer and musician.
Well, you never know who's looking, or
Exactly.
who's watching, who's sitting in the crowd, and that's
you might end up with Sully in the crowd watching. You never
crazy.
know.
Right, you never know. It's definitely something that's popped in my mind, especially playing cities like LA or Nashville or New York. Like, you never know who's in the crowd, even if it's a small city too. So it's definitely always important to always be, putting it all out there.
Yeah. So let me ask you a little bit more about Enlighten, right?
Yeah.
So when did you start to like think about doing this solo thing?
So it was funny, actually, my senior year of high school, I had put out this little like EP that was 3 songs that was kind of like getting my feet in the water for writing instrumentals. And it's been something that like I had really wanted to get back into doing. And it's funny, it became a joke over the years with all my friends, and like the amount of demos I just have sitting on my laptop, that it's like, okay, we got to like do something with this.
Yeah.
and get things across the finish line, you know? So I felt like, you know, I'd just been very drawn to that idea since I had first written it. And it's something that I'm like, okay, when I do really kind of prioritize doing instrumentals, that's going to be the first one, just with the
So
energy.
this was from your senior year of high school. You started writing the song.
And that song I did a couple years later, but I started
Okay.
writing instrumentals in high school.
Yep.
And so, yeah, over the summer was when I was like, okay, let me really do this right. And I had an incredible drummer, Johannes. I'm awful. I always mispronounce his last name. Gritzscher, I believe. He's Austrian, so it's a long name, but he's absolutely incredible drummer. And he also played on my other recent single with Ginny Luke, called Empress in Overdrive. So after he tracked for Empress, I reached out to him and I was like, would you be up for playing on Enlighten? And he absolutely killed it. And then in between tours, I did like the bass and the guitars, and then I sent it out to my friend Gerard, who mixed it and mastered it. And everything is one of those things where, compared to first writing it, it felt like, why am I hitting all these roadblocks, or why is this just not like, I'm not, and it's because I wasn't putting the time and the focus into it, but because, you know, things just get busy. But it felt
Yep.
like, I was like, why is like the universe just saying like, not yet, not yet? And then when it really was, things were falling into place, and especially with tracking it for real and doing the video, like the timing couldn't have been better. Just having the opportunity to work with such incredibly talented people within the past couple months over this has been a really great learning opportunity too, you know, or the first time of like, really, for compared to when I first started writing instrumentals to now, like picking out like, who do I want mixing this or playing on this? And it's a really exciting time to be soaking it all in from like now as like a writer and producer standpoint. So I've been
Yeah. So you did the production too. You did the producing on it.
Yeah, so for this one, I wanted it to be very kind of just straight up classic rock and roll vibes. So it is just mostly guitar, bass, and drums. But for arranging the parts, Scott helped me with like writing that middle section, or like, oh,
Yeah.
added the turnaround here and the pacing of the solo. But yeah, for these instrumentals, and the others I've been working on, it's kind of wearing that producer's hat for the first time and like the writer's hat. Like, where do I want this to go? And what should I add here? I've definitely taken that time to try to like not rush the process and like learn as I go.
So cool. And you know what? You can tell. And there's so many layers to that song.
Thank you.
I keep listening to it, and I keep discovering deeper and deeper layers, which is really cool.
There's so many guitars stacked on it, but I had a lot.
Yes, there are, right? And you don't notice it the first few passes through until you really start to listen to it. And it's incredible piece, and you should be very proud. And I think it's awesome. And I love the fact that there's some melodicness to it. Sometimes when you have just guitar instrumental, it's just lots of notes for the sake of notes. Right.
Yeah.
This is a musical song for sure. And it's got parts to it, and it's beautiful. So beautifully done. Kudos to you. And, you know, I'm going to ask you, is there more coming?
There's plenty coming. And thank you so much for listening and for all of the kind words. That really means a lot to hear too, that you see this melodic. That was my goal with this. I, you know, have the shred stuff there, but also.
No, it's there, but it's
Exactly. Looking up to players like Satriani and like especially like Jeff Beck too. Like I wanted to make sure every song has a melody you can sing back like it's stuck in your head. So it's always the goal. But yes, there's definitely more coming, some more singles on the way, and figuring out whether it's an EP or an album release early next year. And I'm absolutely over the moon about it.
So then you know what the next question is, right? You got more coming, maybe an EP or full length. Right?
Yes.
What comes after that?
After that, I mean, we're figuring it out as we go, and I'm very excited to just be putting out music and kind of taking people along on this journey with me.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Thank you.
I'm being a little bit coy, but what I'm asking you is there going to be a Bella Perron solo tour? Is what I'm asking.
That's already being talked about, figuring out how we're making this happen, but definitely sooner than later. The brain's firing off thinking about how do I want to do this, you know? So
that's fantastic.
Sooner than later, that's definitely the goal.
That'd be really fun to go and see that.
Absolutely. And that kind of, it's interesting. That kind of feeds into what I was going to ask you. With social media, you're always getting media exposure, and you're getting feedback as an artist.
Yeah.
So when you how much do you listen to your audience and how they respond to your song, and does that inspire you in different ways, or talk about that process?
Yeah, I think it's definitely, I mean, to be on social media in any capacity in this day and age, you have to have thick skin. And especially being
Absolutely.
in any aspect of the entertainment industry, you have to have very thick skin. And so I'm thankful that, like, to have gotten that to that point before releasing instrumentals, I think, or releasing them with like videos and all this. So, like, yeah, it's kind of just detaching, and I'm blown away that the overall response is very, very positive. But once in a while, seeing comments that it's like, people saying it isn't sticking in their head, or, that isn't resonating. Like, it's like, that's good to know in the future too. Like, what else can I add or try? So I try to see it as like almost kind of taking myself out of the equation, or like my personal feelings about my art as I'm reading these things. And I try to not dig too deep, but of course I'm looking to, and I'm blown away by like just the amount of positivity and people saying that like they are, connecting with it and that they do enjoy listening.
Well, you're inspiring others, and there's the young Bellas that are out there, and I think that's really it's really important, because there is so much that goes on social media, which you can consider positive and negative, and everybody can experience something positive or negative in terms of feedback.
Yeah.
What type of advice would you give to the young Bella sitting out there that may not get the feedback that he or she wants to hear, and how you move forward and still stay true to yourself?
I think the first thing, because I have definitely been in that boat before too, of like you hear something you don't want to hear. And it happens, it's inevitable. But the first thing is thinking, is this feedback that's actually helpful because someone is wanting to help me? Or is this just someone being negative trolling on the internet? Because if it's trolling, just put that right out the door. Like that should not even last in your mind. And just try to even forget that you read it. But if it is something saying like, hey, be like, this is up with your timing, or something up with like the production, or in any way, it's like general feedback, and it's from someone that like has a reputable career, or seems like someone that you would want to take feedback from, then yeah, by all means, listen to them. And I've gotten plenty of feedback from teachers and producers and, bandmates, friends, even sound guys over the years that like, these are things that I'm like, oh, let me take note of that for in the future. So if you can see it as if you're doing it right, if you're always learning and you're never at that point of like, I know it all, I don't need feedback. If you keep your mind always open to it, but at the same time still, see it through that lens of, is this here to help me, or is it just someone being negative?
Bella, it's funny that you couldn't have said it better. One of my favorite lines are, "Minds are like parachutes. They only work when they're open." And you have to have an open mind. Is there somebody that's given you advice or criticism or advice where you're like, that really stands out to you? Like, wow, if it like a mentor or somebody in the industry that you're like, that really stuck with you?
Oh my gosh, yeah. A couple. I think definitely studying with Scott, because I would send in like videos, because I would go to him saying, I'm insecure about me improvising, or like I'm not doing enough with this mode or whatnot. And I'd send him videos, and he'd be like, almost say like, look at your timing, like practice to the metronome and things like that. Like, yeah, if you take it as this is feedback that's going to help me, and I need to kind of restructure my practice routine or prioritize this, helped so much. Between that and then also just, friends and family being like, you can still do the job without being a stress case all throughout the process.
Yeah.
If anything, that's the
Yeah.
biggest thing I've learned and try to, improve at recently, of like, it's okay if things aren't going to go perfect. And that's definitely kind of feedback I've gotten from friends and family, like especially even touring, like things are certainly not going to go perfect, and just trying to go with the flow and relax and do the best you can do in your control. But yeah, those are definitely like top two things for feedback, one playing related, another just in general.
Bella, one of a takeaway that I have from just hearing you talk, and Bob and I talk a lot about this, if you're not having fun, why are you doing it? And when you talked about your experiences with the Cowgirls so far, it sounds like you're having a lot of fun and you're really enjoying yourself. And it's your profession. So the tremendous advice, and keep doing it.
Thank you so much. And actually, that's another piece of advice I got from family too. It's like, especially if you're pursuing music, like you got to have fun doing it. Whether that's, just figure out what you have to do for work-life balance, that it's still very fun and you're enthusiastic every day as you're going into it. That's the goal.
Absolutely. Otherwise, what's the point,
Exactly.
Yeah. So speaking of feedback, when on Instagram in particular, I saw lots of feedback when you dropped Enlighten. And I saw some pretty big names in there. How does that make you feel when you see big names in the industry like Todd Kearns? And do you know him, by the way?
Yes. Oh my gosh.
He's an unbelievable player and he's pretty famous for being, he goes on with the Conspirators, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And he plays with Paul Stanley.
Oh my gosh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right.
And incredible talent and the kindest person too. It's one of those just insane full circle things of when I was a kid, like one of my favorite live albums, because it just come out at the time. You guys said like in middle school was the Slash Live at the Roxy. I think when they had just put out they just put out World on Fire. And
Yeah.
my mom would drive me to school every day and we would listen to that CD and drive to school. So I think of that anytime,
Yeah.
like the Slash gift is so
Actually,
kind.
did you see that album behind me?
Oh my gosh, no way.
Yeah. We were at that show together, actually. I think you were a few rows behind me.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, what a killer show too.
It was incredible. My daughter and I went to the sound check beforehand, and that was super cool.
That's so cool. It was so cool getting to see him in a blues context too.
It was totally cool, right?
Yeah. Awesome.
But yeah, so how does it feel getting that feedback from like big stars?
Just absolutely mind-blowing. I feel like on the inside it feels like, like inner child, like kind of freaking a bit, especially seeing like Nita Strauss taking the time to write a really nice comment and share right after I had posted it in the morning, like absolutely made my day. And just one of those wild full circle things, and definitely very, very humbling to like players I've looked up to that there's definitely a good chance like I would not be here today as a player without listening to their records religiously.
Yep.
Going to see the shows growing up, and even now still all the time, if I'm kind of feeling uninspired, those are the albums I'm going to go to, or the live videos on YouTube and all that. So it definitely is a bit mind-blowing seeing, them taking the time to comment and check out the song. It definitely means the world.
Yeah, it's so great. I can only imagine what that feels like,
It's
Bellish.
definitely like it feels. Oh, sorry, what's that, Dennis?
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I have to say it shows people are watching.
Thank
All
you.
All eyes are on you.
Oh, thanks so much. It definitely, when I first see it, it's like I kind of feel like a kid. I'm like, oh my God, I cannot believe this at all. And just kind of thinking, it's like, it's the putting out, the instrumentals and like this new, era of like instrumental guitar records that I've just been, kind of stashing for a while that I'm really, really excited about. And it's just, feels surreal seeing it getting, seen and shared around, and definitely very, very exciting.
We're excited for everything that's coming. This is tremendous.
Yeah, it's awesome. So that this is the Apex Lifestyles podcast, right? So, and it's really the premise of the show is people reaching their apex and whatever that means to them. What is Bella Perron's apex? What does that mean to you? Like, what would be the pinnacle that you would love? What are you reaching for? What are you striving for?
Striving for doing like full-time touring and recording music that really resonates with me, that like between the instrumentals and Midnight Cowgirls, and doing it in a way that I'm having fun and I'm enjoying it and I'm pushing myself daily to keep getting better and better. That's the apex, and I'm excited to be on that track. And I feel like kind of jumping into it with starting to release, the new music that I'm really, really proud of and really excited about.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm excited for you too, because I think it's great what you put out so far, and I can't wait to hear more. And Dennis, what do you got?
What advice would you give to any young Bella out there getting ready to hit the industry right now?
Be kind to yourself and go easy on yourself, because you're going to hear rough things from everyone else, but you need to be kind to yourself first. And you definitely cannot put your self-worth in the hands of other people. Just in general, especially if you're a young girl picking up a guitar, you have to have thick skin. And if you put the work in, practicing and writing and growing, and enjoying that process instead of seeing it as I need to cross a finish line of like being good enough, then you're going to be happy. Learning to enjoy the process and enjoy learning and getting better and better. I wish I had learned that when I was, like 10 years ago, instead of seeing it as I need to be doing this or this or this, and why am I not good enough yet? It's all a process, and just enjoy that and put the reps in.
Yeah, isn't that so true in life in general and everything?
100%.
Right? I mean, it just goes to show that the principles are always the same.
It is. And, if you're not happy with yourself in what you're doing, like today, you need to enjoy the moment. I mean, obviously, as an artist, it sounds like you have a lot that's coming forward, but if you don't enjoy the moment today and be happy and proud of yourself, I've been an educator for years, and I always say to kids, college, high school, got to look yourself in the mirror every day, in the morning and at night. And if you're happy with that person, you're doing things right. And Bella, you're doing a lot right. Keep up the great work.
Yeah, we're excited.
So much.
Yeah, we're excited to see what comes in the future. In the meantime, I'm a dentist, right? So like in my office, I was playing Enlighten all day, just getting ready for today. Yeah, it's kind of fun. So I had all my patients listening to it. So
oh my gosh, thank you.
And I was talking about the interview tonight because the studio's right in the office. So they see it. It's all, they walk by. There's a big window in the back over there, and they can see into the studio. And it's kind of a cool little weird thing that we do here. But they were always asking me, who are we talking to next? And so I was telling them about today. So that's great. And we're really honored that you came in. We're the first solo artist interview that I understand that you're doing, right? It's the first interview is here.
Yeah, it is. And thank you so much for having me and for listening to the new song and chatting about it. I am so excited, and I'm so stoked that this lined up coming back on Apex Lifestyles. It's always a blast chatting with you both.
Yeah,
likewise.
Likewise, it's great. And, I'll probably shout out to Scott later and let him know that we had a chat.
My gosh, yeah. Actually, I've been meaning to text him and check in, too.
Yeah, right. Dennis, you want to take us home?
Bella, it's great seeing you, like I said, once again, enjoying what you're doing, striving to reach your apex over and over and over again, and giving the fans what they love to see. Keep doing what you're doing. And, Bob, it's go time.
It's go time.